Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of The Chest of Obscurity. Now, this time we're going to arcade country. Yes, arcade country, and we're going back to the days of the 80s. And we're going to look at a game in which caused people to wonder where exactly was the second game in the series. And that game that I'm going to be talking about is Gradius. Or Gradius. Take your pick. Gradius has been a long time arcade shooter from Konami. And I mean back in the old days, Konami, when they actually had imagination and whatnot. Today we're going to look at the arcade classic, in which most people would argue is and is not Gradius 2. In Japan, it is known as Salamander. Here, in the US, we call it Life Force. And I'm going to put in my quarters like so. Actually, there's a story here. Unlike the Japanese version, which there is no story. Sentinel XR1 has been infected by 2 radiation. The half-human, half-biomechanical warrior must be saved at all costs. You will enter through the lower stomach wall and make your way through the Sentinel's brain. You must destroy the massive brain tumor that has infected his body. Sentinel XR1 contains many combative antibiotics. Some are human and some are biomechanical. They will try to destroy you. You are the intruder. Sentinel XR1's life force must be saved. Prepare. Your ship is USS Lightspeed. Your weapon will be transmitted to you. In Japanese, it's speed up. Or missile. Otherwise known as option. This is the laser we got from for Gradius 3. Also for Gradius 3. That's where it came from. Otherwise known as force shield or force field. Let's do this.
Destroy them all. Enter stomach muscle zone.
This is different from the NES version because, well, you never really start off with options. When I first learned of this, I was actually watching Retro Benson's channel, in which he plays games with cheats. Which kind of reminds me of back in the days when I first started doing older games with just cheats, you know. I mean, I still do it. I don't do as much as I used to. Because mind you, I only do it with old games. one thing I noticed about this game that was totally different from the the Nintendo game. And yes, there actually is a Gradius 3. A Gradius 3. There is a Gradius 2. This is very vocal compared to... This is very vocal compared to the NES version, which didn't really have much of plot. And in comparison to the NES, well, you never got options this early. And that's what happens. You instantly go to top mode. Like instead of going into, a transition, you basically go instantly into top-down mode. But never really happened in the NES version because you went to screen transition.
Its stone cannot be destroyed.
Thanks for telling me. I think the cool effect is, that will be the computer telling you all the little tidbits like, go through this area, you can't shoot this, destroy this. And even though I think Konami might claim copyright on it, I'm pointing it out right there. It's done by Konami. Namely, that thing with the eye. Just shoot it. With either option or the light speed, or I like to call it Vic Viper.
Enter stomach inner chamber. Warning, danger zone. Acid flame.
And most of these tracks are very iconic because if you were a big DDR fan, you'd hear pieces of Gradius in later DDR games. I actually miss old Konami just for the fact that it wasn't just Metal Gear that was the only franchise they actually had. There were more than just that. Like they had this, YY World, Twinbee, there we go. There we go. I was wondering when I was going to get that laser. Like I said, normally you just don't get the laser until like the first stage of the game. You get missile, laser. I know there are those out there just gonna be like, "You're cheating the game," or some other nonsense. Don't care. No, really, I don't care. As I pointed out before, somebody who commented on one of my Chest of Obscurity videos, I don't do this for skill. No.
Entering one zone.
I do it for those who are just interested. You know, for those who didn't know, oh, there was this version of it? There was this version of it. There was another version of it. Like Battle Squadron. I didn't know there was an Amiga version of it. There we go.
Link up with weapons.
I had pulse laser, then I dropped it for the regular laser again. But yeah, the reason why I do games like these, just the simple fact that, you know, it's just a video game. And most of us didn't have or see these kind of games in our neck of the woods. Like, I know I never saw, like, I own, like, quite a bit of games. And I do mean quite a bit of, you know, NES, Super Nintendo, and all the way up to, well, Nintendo Wii.
Prepare for biomechanical mutants. Fire, fire!
I mean, who remembers the old days when, you know, you actually play games without cheats? You struggled and whatnot. You had Game Genie to help you out. Or if you're playing the arcade version, you would go through at least $5 worth of coins in the hopes that you could possibly beat this one game.
Biomechanical brain attack.
Oh, aren't you cute? I already know this is a boss rush. And let's face it, Konami had the hardest. Konami had the hardest of them all. I mean, seriously. If you ever played an old school Konami game, you know it was hard. Especially their shooters. I also remember when I was looking at a video from KWK Box, the name of Salamander or Life Force was mentioned in his list of old nostalgic NES games, along with another game he mentioned, namely called Crisis Zone. And I remember I did Life Force on my channel, but it was the NES version. Sounds like something out of Tron, doesn't it? Oh look, it's the core. And note, if I was playing this normally, there have been so many lives lost. So we get out of the planet like so. And that was it.
Enter Sonic Muscle Zone.
And then we start the game over like so.
Increase power.
Yeah, because everybody remembers. Because everybody remembers you playing this twice. Some games would consider that if you played it once, you had to play it twice to get the quote-unquote true ending. But, you know, oh, I forgot I got missiles. One thing I couldn't stand, really, about this generation now is you got all these quote-unquote game purists. And I'll tell you why I just don't like them. Because they feel like, oh, if you're not really playing the actual version, if it's, say, emulation. You're playing emulation, you're playing a fake. So, well, think about it. It's better than the actual thing. Because just to be real, think of how much money you would have to burn in order.
Enter safety zone.
Imagine how much money you would actually burn just to get an actual, cabinet of, say, Life Force. Or it don't have to be Life Force, it could be any other game.
Safety zone cannot be destroyed.
It could be friggin' Wild West Cowboys and Moon Mesa, or The Simpsons. Or name any other game that you technically had to go through that you really had to go through because it was the game. Plus, think about it. If you were to say, "Oh, I'm going to get myself an actual Amiga or a Commodore 64," they cost a lot.
Destroy sensor membrane.
Because video games these days, especially in the retro market, they cost a lot. So, like I said, I really don't like game purists for that one reason. Like, you're playing emulation, yeah? Well, it's better than actually having the real thing if you don't have it. Because growing up, I missed out on a lot of consoles. I missed out on the TurboGrafx 16, even though it's sold in my area, the Nintendo 64, the Atari Jaguar. I have played the Link before. One of my cousins actually had an Atari Lynx. I think the only game I've ever played off that was Slime World. And just because you're a game purist doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. I mean, you can be a game purist and be respectable too. I mean, I've been getting a lot of douchebag comments these past few days. And that's another thing I had to talk about. Some viewers out there, good lord, what is it with you and your goddamn overblown expectations? It's like, yeah, I'm the one entertaining, but come on now, that doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. I mean, if you don't have a sense of humor, you're an asshole. That's what it is. If you don't have a sense of humor, you're an asshole. Ripple. I mean, that's just how it is. You know, if you sub to my channel, I would think you find me interesting, which is good. But if you're just gonna call me a flat-out asshole just because, oh, I don't reach your demands, well then, leave right now. But then there, You have the slightly cool people, you know. You got your fanatics. You got those who just say, I like what you do. Keep up the good work. And I can say, you know, thank you. You know, that's very nice of you to say that. Because with the way things have been, in my life, it's just been very hectic. Going through another transition. You know, it's just been crazy. And plus, how many Let's Plays have I been doing? That I've been putting time and you know, effort into? I mean, come on, guys, give me a break. But going back to, you know, this game. As I said before, it's just like when Metal Gear came out. And there was a part 2 on the MSX. Well, we didn't have a part 2, so they had to make one up. Mainly, Snake's Revenge was that part 2. It wasn't the part 2 that we really wanted, but it was a part 2 nonetheless. You had to compensate for something, you know. It's the same thing for Gradius. Even though there was a part 2, it was never brought over here. It was brought over in another form, mainly Game Boy, I believe. But for the NES, what we got for a part 2 was Life Force. So I can see why most people would argue say that this is not part 2. I would say, yeah, it is. It's a variation of a part 2, even though it's not exactly part 2. It's not officially part 2, but it's a variation of part 2. You see, that's what most people just do. They think they're so smart, but they're not. But think about it, folks. Did we get a part 2 of Metal Gear? No. It was, but it was released to a different console. Had to wait years later until they made a part 2. And then ported over to PlayStation 2, I believe. So really, you know, Konami had to compensate for all their titles. Or at least most of their titles. I'm pretty sure Capcom would have done the same thing. if Mega Man weren't, wasn't complete. So we're gonna have to put in Rockman instead of Mega Man. Like, who the hell would have known that Rockman and Mega Man are one and the same, right? But as I said before, it's something, So, I'd rather not dismiss this game as being a part 2 of sorts. Like Viper was dubbed as something else, which was called Lightspeed. You still had all the weapons from... You still had all the weapons from Gradius 1. The only thing they did different was change the way you fought. Like, instead of going, side view, it was top view. It's where we got that trench run for Bucky O'Hare. And we destroyed again. And boom. But as you can see, Life Force, in the form that it is a staple in the Konami history of video games. As it is in this version, the US version, this game keeps going and going and going and going until you basically lose your lives. And, well, Life Force is a classic. It is one of those titles that most people do and don't know about because they only know it from one form, and that was the Nintendo version of it. But very few people know about the arcade version of it. I'm one of those few people who actually know now that there was an arcade version of it. Because most people would just overlook this game, and they would say, "Oh, well, you got Gradius 1, Gradius 2, and Gradius 3, and so forth and so forth." But they would overlook this game and say, "Oh, this is not Gradius 2." But it kind of is. It's just variation of Gradius 2. Gotta compensate for something, right? But anyway, as I said before, for those who want to come on my channel and you want to drop a comment, please respect, okay? I don't do this. I don't do the things I do for money. Okay? I do this simply for fun. If I really wanted to basically say, "Oh, support me," you could buy my book, but that's only out of free will. If you so choose to, you can do that. Aside from that, I'm not begging anybody to do much anything. You like what you see, subscribe to my channel. If you have any social media like Facebook or Twitter, you can follow me through there. My handle is, of course, PookieIzzy7, just to let you guys know. And if you feel like you want to talk to me, you can talk your ear off to me, but just don't request anything too out there, too weird, That's all I ask. Because I have my taste, and I don't want to go too far from the limits of good taste. But aside from that, I hope you have enjoyed this this episode of the Chest of Obscurity Arcade Edition, which was Life Force. So with that, I'm gonna call it here, and I will see you next time with even more videos, Let's Plays, reviews, and or otherwise. So until then, I've been the Tenkaichi of Gaming, PI7, and stay tuned for more videos. Until then, take care, God bless, and as always, Senpai's blessings upon you, my good people. And Tenkai Muso!